What's up, and welcome everybody to the Oracle's Den. I am your host, Lady Tay, where this is the place where banging testimonies are being dropped. So today, I have in a powerful woman of God. She is a wife. She is a mother of 5. She's an author and a podcast host. I want to welcome to the stage Miss Santana Bridges.
Thank you for having me. Super excited and pumped to see what God do today, for sure.
I'm just appreciative. I thank you so much for just taking the time to be here, out of your busy schedule, because I know what it could be like.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what God is going to do. I'm excited to hear your story.
Okay, me too.
I'm excited. So if comfortable, which, I feel like you are, let's take it back to what life was like before you met Christ, before Jesus came into your life.
Whoa.
I want to know what that was like.
Oh, before Jesus came into my life, I was thinking about that. I was like, Lord, before he came into my life, man, y'all, like it was like the story of the unknown. Like when you're driving in a car without a GPS, you don't know where, there's a destination, right? But you absolutely don't know where you're going at. That was me. Age, let's see, we're gonna take it back to maybe age 20, because 21 was when I kind of shift into, okay, God, this is gonna be me and you. So age 20, that was a long time ago, Jesus. My goodness. But 20-year-old Santana didn't know who she was. She was struggling with her identity. I was in a place of shrinking back, very fearful, and muted. So didn't really have a voice of my own. And I think I remember, because I always go back like, all right, God, when did I become muted? Like, when did I allow for the enemy to steal my voice? And even sometimes the enemy, because a lot of times myself, I can put a cap on it, a cap on what God can do, a cap on him using my voice. So it caused me to shrink into a place. But I remember God sharing me like, daughter, the enemy placed a muzzle on your mouth when you was a kid. So I'm thinking back like to age 5, maybe 4 or 5. We about to get deep. So we about to go there.
Let's get it.
Yeah, 5-year-old Santana, going through being molested by her grandfather. And oftentimes when you're that young, you forget until there's a trigger. And when these triggers come about, you begin to have the trauma responses. So when I was older, I would ask God, like, why am I responding this way? But it was because I forgot that I was molested. He took me back to when my papa, he would always take me. He was a truck driver, and he would always take me with him. I always would want to know, like, Mom, like, why would you even send me with him? But when you trust someone that you've known all your life, you wouldn't think that they would do something like that. But I remember being in the truck with him, and he would touch me. And because I was so shy and very reserved, and I wouldn't say as much as a kid, I didn't really say anything. So that's when it all started. That's when the muzzle became on my mouth. And I allowed it for so long. So now I'm going into teenage Santana, recently graduated from cosmetology. So when I was in high school, my mom never really allowed me to like go out or anything like that. So I couldn't go out with my friends like that. I had about 2 good friends that my mom would let me maybe go somewhere with, but they had always come over to Santana house. But I understood now that she was protecting me from the world. So now I'm like that with my daughter, like, You ain't, they can come over here. You can have a sleep over here, but you're not going there. And it's not like you're trying to be strict or anything. It's like, no, I'm protecting you. It's my job as your mother to cover you. So that's what she didn't know what was going on with my papa. All she knew is that I'm trying to protect my baby. Like, I trusted this guy, but now that she's getting older, like, I had to protect her from the world. So that's what it was. But once I graduated from high school, I went to cosmetology school. My mom was like, hey, you're 18, 19 now. I'm going to let you do what you want to do. But there's still going to be some restrictions. But because I was older, I was accomplishing so many things. I had finished hair school. I had got a job. I got a car. And she was like, all right. But that kind of steered me away from God. Like, she always made sure that I was in church. But once I got older, yeah, I'd go sometimes and sometimes I wouldn't. But I always knew God, right? I always had a relationship with God, even as a young girl. But I would always find myself shifting and drifting away. So I realized, like, all right, Santana, you out here in these streets, right? You're out here. But I would be out drinking, doing things that I knew, like, you know how you feel in your spirit, like, this ain't right. Like, you know how you know it ain't right, but you still, like, I'm still just, I'm around, but I still want to touch the water, right? I know I can't swim. I know I need a lifeguard, but I still want to see everybody else out here doing it. Like, why I can't get out here in the water? That's how I feel. Like, I want to jump. I want to test the waters. So I test the waters, and then I got pregnant. And I was like, ooh, 21-year-old Santana, here I go pregnant. And I thought that my world was going to end, honestly. But I knew what I had already accomplished. I had already accomplished so many things, even at 21. So telling my mom, she wasn't even upset. She just said, all right, I'm gonna hold your hand through this. I got you. Like, I'm not going to beat you down because you're already doing so much. But I'm not going to allow for you being pregnant to stop what God is doing in your life. Although you may have been out there, now it's time for you to come on back. But even being pregnant, in the beginning part of me being pregnant, I still was like, yeah, I go to church, but like, I'm tired. Like, I don't feel like getting up. So it wasn't until I went to the doctor and I was finding out what I was having. I was excited, like, oh, I want a girl. My daughter's dad was like, I want a boy. Like, I'm like, I want a girl. So found out what I was having, and they told us that it was a girl. But then it was like, oh, hold on, let me check and see what else going on. So I'm like, I know you don't see twins in there, right? So it's like, no, let me bring another doctor in. So they started bringing all these doctors in. I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm 21, so I'm not thinking that something is going on with me. All I know is I'm pregnant. I just found I was having a girl. Like, what else could it be? So they came in and was like, hey, your baby, her intestines is out. I was like, ooh, what? How is that even possible? Like, how is that even possible for my child intestines to be out while I'm being pregnant? So they began to tell me, like, it's like one out of so many women that it happens to, right? So I was just like, all I can hear is your baby intestines is out. All the other stuff that they're trying to educate me on, I'm not listening. So I'm like, oh my God.
Hearing it.
No, like, oh my God, like, my baby intestines is out. And I remember going to the bathroom, and this is when I felt the Lord's presence come in the bathroom with me. And it was just like, it's time, right? And I remember calling my sister and my mom, and I began to tell them I was just crying. And as I was headed back home, I was talking with God. It's like the first time in a long time me really having an encounter with the Lord, just me and him. And I was like, God, if you save my baby, you know, like, you got to go through something but you like, God, if you do it. But no, like, it was like a serious, like, God, if you save my child, I'm going to live for you forever. If you save my child, there's no going back. If you save my child, there's no tiptoeing in the water. If you save my child, like, I'm surrendering. Like, being obedient to the call, being obedient to what you say. Like, I'm not doing none of that stuff no more, no drinking, no none of that. And he did what he said he was going to do. He saved her. They was able to put her intestines back in her stomach. Everything that the doctor said that she couldn't do, she exceeded it. And now we're looking at a 13-year-old girl that's doing so much, like literally exceed every test. And they were surprised. And I'm like, it was God. Like, he told me that he was going to save my baby. And he did just what he said he would do. So from that day forward, although there is some kind of inconsistency of my relationship with the Lord, but I will always go back. Like, I knew God for myself. I didn't know him from what my mama, my grandma said, but I knew him based on relationship with him, based on me building within the Lord. So it was up, I would say. Like, it took that happening. Sometimes people don't understand that. Sometimes you have to go through a dramatic experience for you to go back to God, for you to really be all in, as I would say. So it took that. And I thank God, although it was traumatic, it was traumatic. And I would not wish that on no one, because that pregnancy was a lot. And it was very, very, very scary. But it took me trusting God too much to give up, trusting God too much to lean into what the doctors are saying, trusting God too much for me to believe the lies of the enemy, for me to believe that my daughter was going to die. It took me trusting him. So that would allow me to continue my relationship with God, even after birthing her, even after walking through motherhood. I knew that God would not leave me. I knew that. I'm sorry. That was on me. My apology. But I knew that what God took me through, it was for a reason. What God took me through, it was all for the good. Amen. Amen. It was for the good. I knew that my story was going to help so many people. So many people was going to look to me and see Jesus, look at my story and see Jesus. So many people who may have strayed away, so many people who may not even know God based on my story and what I went through, though they may not have been through like being pregnant and daughter having gastroesthesis. This is when your intestine is out. They may not have went through that, but they may be facing something that seemed impossible, maybe facing something that seems like they may want to give up. But because God is so God, I would say God can do the impossible. God continue to perform miracles. They can say, hey, like Santana, she went through something, but she didn't give up. She went through something that drew her closer to God. And now look at her now. Like, I'm 35 years old. My daughter, she's 13. And I would say that what I went through back then is only making me the woman of God who I am today. And though I've been through so many different things from 21, like, I always look at that story like that was the story that brought me back to God. That was the story that almost killed me, I would say, because even while being pregnant, oh Jesus, while being pregnant, I went through I was abused physically and mentally while being pregnant, after pregnancy. Like, it was a lot that would make you say, I'm done. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, why is this happening to me? And that would be my cry out to God all the time. Like, even after having veil, like, why do I have to go through this? Why do I have my character have to be torn down? Why do I have to get hit upside my head? Why do I have to get thrown around? Like, why do I have to go through this? But it was building me so I can be able to talk. Honestly, going through that, I was able to see when someone else was going through it. Like, I can be in a group of people or wherever I'm at and my discernment be on. I'm like, oh, like, she's dealing with even men, like they're dealing with abuse. Like, ooh, it's a cry out for help there. Like just listening to people, I'm like, yeah, that's a cry out for help. And they cannot even be saying anything about what they're going through, but me having an ear to hear and being able to see in the spirit, like they're going through something. But God, I had to go through that to get to where I'm at, go through that to be able to pick up people in the spirit. And it could be heavy, but I thank God for the gift, because I don't always have to go and lay hands or go and be like, let me pray for you. Like I'll be able to intercede for a woman or man in the spirit and allow for God to do what God does, because I truly believe that he's going to do it. I don't care who you are. Like I believe that he's going to do it. You can be a believer or unbeliever. Like I believe it. Like God don't wish that upon no one, for them to have to go through anything like that. Yes, it's our choice, but I don't believe in it. So that's my story of me, life without Jesus, my life with Jesus now. Nobody on this earth, on the earth or under the earth, can tell me that Jesus is not real, can tell me that Jesus is not faithful, can tell me that he does not do the impossible, because I've seen it, I've been through it, I witnessed it. That's how I'm able to tell people about it. And I'm still seeing it today. I'm still seeing miracles, signs, and wonders. I'm still seeing Jesus operate in my life. I'm still seeing Jesus in my family and my friends' life.
So, I could relate to a lot of what you were saying. And it just seemed like when I talked to different people, in some ways, like I could relate to something that they are saying. Like, I don't know. I just been through so much in my life that even if it's just a little piece of what you're saying, like I can relate to that. So I can relate to the abuse. I can relate to the molestation, and I can relate to the enemy wanting to keep me muted. I can relate to that. But what I want to ask you is how did you come out of that phase of, just breaking free, like tapping into your boldness and to not be restricted, or, like not letting the enemy hold you down or hold you back? What was your process if God had you to go through a process of breaking free, like the you that the Father is pulling forth, or that's pulling up out of you? Like, how did you come about that? Like, how did you come into like out of that shell, out of that place, into now, from being muted or muzzled, to being free, and speaking like ain't nothing, nobody gonna tell me nothing different. I'm not shutting up. I'm gonna stand with us, says the Lord. Like, how did you come out of that?
Oh, so it did take some time. It did take a lot of wanting to quit, wanting to throw in the towel, seeing people go ahead of me. In 2019, I went through a heavy depression, and I went through it 3 times. 3 times in that year. The third time, I think, was the time that almost broke me. I remember being in the car, and I was driving with my daughter, and the enemy was tormenting me. It was so bad that I had to go to like my mom's house and sit with him until I went to sleep. But even then, I would have to have like scriptures and worship songs that was playing, because the enemy tried to put a muzzle. I was in a relationship that wasn't sent from God, and it was, it was a relationship that I thought that God sent, because it was someone who I thought was a believer. You be a Christian, but you may not be a believer, right? You
Me
may
too.
not be a son.
I've been
So
there too.
yeah, that was my story. Like I thought you was a man of God, but praise God, I'm praying for your deliverance. So I remember him breaking it off with me, and it was like my world was going in. Like, oh my God, like this was me, Santana, finding my identity in a man, not God. So there's a difference. So I went through that depression. I was in a car, and I would hear the enemy telling me over and over that it's time to take your life. Like, nobody don't want you. Like, this man been tearing you down. He supposed to be like, he just speaking all the lies. Like, you supposed to be a believer. You supposed to be a believer. Like, where is God at now? Like, why is God allowing you to go through this stuff? Why is God tearing your character down? Why is God having you crying? Like, just all these lies, and it was just so bad. Like, I know I see how people be in the movies when there's just so much so much talk. And they're like just scream, like, please get, like the lady at the well, like all the talk about her having 5 husbands, and just like you can hear the chatter all around you, just like, oh my God, like, please let me just go ahead and just end it all. But there's a guy who loves Santana so much that he wouldn't even allow me to go through there. I remember, like, after being in the car, and my daughter was in the car, and me wanting to just run off the side of the road, knowing my baby, and I love my baby. I love my baby. And I would wish no harm on her at all. That's not even who I am. But the enemy can run you crazy if you don't have a relationship with the Lord. That's why it's so important. But I remember getting home, and I would hear God say, it's time to clean house. If you do not clean house, you are going to allow for the enemy to run you crazy. And this time it's not going to be good. So I was like, all right, God. I remember going upstairs. I opened up, you know how the old folks would be like, open up your cabinets, open up the windows, open up the doors. We're going to drive this enemy out of here. So that's what I did. I opened up everything. I got my oil. I was just like, all right, just going in like, I would not allow for the enemy to defeat me, because he had me going crazy. Like, literally, I could not sleep. So I drove the enemy, me and God, we partnered together. We drove the enemy out. And he said, this time, you are not going back. This time, if you say that you all in, you got to be all in, because now you are allowing for the enemy to take you out of position. Like, you have a whole, I think I had a whole mentorship at that time called I Am Enough. Like, how in the world am I going to pour into these babies saying that you are enough because God said so? And I can't even believe it for myself. So God is like, I'm not going to allow for you to pour and you're going through. I'm not going to allow for you to pour and you don't even believe the very thing that you are speaking out of your mouth. So I remember doing that and having an encounter with the Lord. He's like, daughter, it's time for you to get in position. It's time for you to get back. Like, you're already being fearful of different things. You already are allowing for everybody to go up front and you continue to shrink back. And there were still times where I would notice that, like, being in church or being with my friends or wherever I'm at, like, I just allow for everybody just to go. And I felt like I didn't have nothing to say because of what I went through, but not knowing that because of what I went through, I had everything to say because God was speaking through me. But because Santana was continuing to get in the way, continue to allow for the muzzle to come back on her mouth time and time again, I had to get in a place where God was like, either you gonna live for me or you ain't. Either you gonna be my mouthpiece or you ain't. Like, because I've created you for such a time as this, you cannot allow for the enemy to continue to put a muzzle on your mouth, for you to continue to be muted. You got something to say. But I would give God all these excuses of why I couldn't do it, because what I went through, because I don't talk like everybody else, because I'm country, because I feel like I wasn't powerful. He said, daughter, like, I've created in you and your mother's womb. You are powerful. You are equipped. You are anointed. You are a bold woman of God, destined to win. You are all these things. Everything that the enemy is telling you that you're not, you are just that, and you're so much more. But you have to believe it. So when I began to believe what Daddy was saying concerning me, and then also realizing whose I was, God, there's no fear in heaven. There's no fear in our Father. So why do I allow for the enemy to cause me to shut up? Like, why do I allow for the enemy to cause me to shrink back, knowing that the power, all I gotta do is call upon the Lord, and He begins to speak unto me. One word that's released from heaven. Like, I just gotta grab a hold to that. I would hear all these different prophecies saying, like, oh, Santana, you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that. I'm just speaking it. Yeah, I hear you, but I wasn't believing it for myself. I think I had to grab a hold to what Daddy was saying concerning me, and then that way I can step into it. So it took some time. It took me connecting to and with a powerful man of God, my husband of 3 years, connecting with him for him to speak the very thing that the Lord was already saying concerning me. So I think it's important that, for one, you have a relationship with God. For two, know who you are connected to. That is so important, because you can have people that are sent that may look like God things, but they're really good things. They're sent to be hurters and not helpers. But once you connect to a helper that's speaking the same language that you and God is speaking, like, yeah, all right, now I know that I am equipped. Like, I know that God has called me for such a time as this. So once I realized that, I'm like, you know what? All it took for one time for God to use me, I'm like, ooh, that's the girl that God was calling upon all this time. That's the girl that God wanted to use all this time. So I just began to step into that. I'm like, I'm not shrinking back. There's so many times that I will feel it come up, like I want to shrink back. I'm like, nah, like, I'm not shrinking back. Like, God has created me for this time. God has created me to be his mouthpiece. And I'm going to say what thus says the Lord. Like, you either going to believe it or you ain't. You going to have to take it up with God. And that's how I am now. Like, I'm having a knowing that God speaks to me, having a knowing that I hear from God, knowing when to speak and when not to speak. And when he speaks, I'm going to speak. And if you receive it, you receive it. If you don't, you don't. And that's just how I am. A lot of people didn't receive from Jesus. You think he stopped? No, he ain't stopped. So with me being a Jesus girl, with me being connected to Jesus, I'm be the same way.
Well, Santana, girl, you took me back. You took me back because, like, I found myself to get here doing this podcast. Like, I had to go through that, what you were just talking about. And it almost brought tears to my eyes. I'm trying to hold it strong, but it almost brought tears to my eyes, because I'm telling you, I understand. I know exactly what you are saying. I understand, the going back and forth. Like, like I could say with me, I know who God was. Ever since I was a little girl, I always, just had some type of connection, even though I didn't really understand purpose. I didn't really understand who he called me to be, but I just felt that it was something more, didn't have full understanding. I used to talk to God even as a little girl, did not understand. But being muzzled, like, I've been through so much, and guilt and shame tried to muzzle me.
Yes.
So recently, and I've dealt with stuff, like, I'm 41 at this point. I dealt with a lot. So, like you said, I've seen people go before me. I've seen people step up. I've seen people, and it's like they're stepping into purpose and destiny. And I'm just like, well, God, what about me?
Okay.
So it's like I say yes to you, God, but then at the same time, I had stipulations, because I wasn't all in.
Right.
I wasn't like all or nothing. Like, I was just giving what I felt like what I wanted to give. But now I know you have to, like, even if you're uncomfortable, being uncomfortable, because God is the type of God, he's going to stretch us out of our comfortability.
Oh, yes.
He will stretch us. So we might feel like we being stretched thin, but no, he's stretching us to take us to another place.
Oh yeah.
Only if we could see that. And I didn't see that in myself for a long time. I didn't see that in myself. I didn't see me doing this because I never was a person that liked to speak out. I was okay with being in the background.
Okay.
Okay, being laid back. I could help y'all with some paperwork.
That part.
I could do some graphics. I could do some other stuff like, but speaking, I in that the same thing you said, I felt like I didn't like the way I sound. I wasn't proper
Mhm.
enough. I felt like other people was more qualified. They sound more educated.
Oh, yeah.
They got credentials, and I'm looking at all of that, and I'm just like, me,
That part.
me, like, so when you were speaking of that, yes, and it took for God, like he took me into a place where he had me looking at myself, and I
Mm,
was even questioning myself, like, why am I like this?
yeah.
Where does this come from? And he was bringing up all kind of stuff, like you said. I completely forgot about some
Yes.
traumatic stuff that I completely forgot about. And even when it came up, it shook me. It shook me all over again because I completely forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm just like, you know what, God, yes, I accept who you call me to be.
Yep, that's
I
it.
accept who I am. All or nothing, because I'm just at a place right now. I'm so sick of starting over. I'm so sick of starting over. I'm so sick of feeling like I'm getting the short end of the stick. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so sick of trying to figure it out. I don't
Yes.
want to figure it out no more. I said, God, I don't want to figure it out no more. I just want to do what you called me to do. I just want to please you. I don't want to figure out what happened in my past, what's attached to this, what's that. Holy
Yeah.
Spirit, just lead me. You
Mm-hmm.
tell me what I need to do. You reveal what you need to reveal. I don't want to, because I was driving myself crazy trying
Yeah.
to figure out why I'm the way that I am.
Right.
He showed me some things,
Mm-hmm.
but then I was trying to figure out other things, and far as why I am the way that I am.
Yeah.
And it just felt like I was kind of like running in circles, because if you just walk in obedience,
That's
if
it.
you just follow me, I will show you.
Come
You don't like
on.
you don't need to do all of that.
Mm-mm.
That's that's what the Holy Spirit's for. And I felt like I was running myself crazy. So now I'm like, okay, God, this is it. I
Yep.
feel like I wasted so much time. This is it. I'm not shrinking back. I'm not pulling back, because I know I have a story. I know I have banging testimonies,
Mhm.
more than one. I have so many testimonies.
Oh yeah.
From being suicidal to being abused to being verbally abused, mentally abused, physically abused.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you name it, I probably went through it.
Yeah.
So, what's the worst that could happen?
That part. That
What's
part.
the worst that could happen?
Yep.
And I'm just like, God, I'm here. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times we say, God, use us how you see fit. But a lot
Right.
of times people don't even realize.
You just be talking about anything.
People don't even realize. You don't know what you're saying.
Okay.
You do not
We
realize.
had someone that be like, I'll just say yes. You leave. Okay, but when you're saying yes, you don't know what trials and tribulations you're gonna face along that yes. Okay, but you're saying I just say yes. That's why I be
Listen,
careful what I'm saying. I'm like,
it's listen, that yes, you don't know. You don't know. You're gonna have to go through some stuff, because I mean it's a price to pay.
oh
It's
yeah.
the price to pay, and it makes us appreciative for where we are going. And I'm just so appreciative. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, like I could just talk all day on this subject, but I'm
Yes.
not going to take your shine, girl. Today it's about you. It's about you. So
It's about
um,
Jesus.
Yeah, it's about him. He is that dude.
Oh
He
yeah.
is that dude. We got to keep it. We got to keep him centered. We
Oh yeah.
got to keep everything centered around him.
Mhm.
But when you met your husband that you have now, what did you find yourself like having to go through a process of like
Mm.
the break-in to be this one? Because I see y'all too, and I admire the love that y'all have for one another. Y'all are so cute. Y'all so cute, but the love that y'all have for one another, y'all so attentive towards one another. Y'all pay attention, and I watch how brother Josh got eagle eye.
Okay.
Nothing will get past him. He pay attention to
Oh
everything.
yeah.
So I know if he like that in church, I can imagine how he is at home.
Oh yeah.
So
Time
what
spent.
what was the break-in like to get you out of you to be the wife that God wants you to be?
Oh yeah. There was some breaking, and what I like to say is there was some unlearning, right? That I had to unlearn everything that I thought I knew about Santana, everything that I thought I knew about marriage, everything. Like, I remember when me and my husband, we first met and we were courting, and he would always ask me like, why you do stuff like that, or why you say stuff like that. And it was because of what I went to. I was responding in my trauma. That's what it was. I would
Mhm.
respond from my trauma. So it took a lot of deliverance to get me to the place that I am now. Even when so we courted for, I want to say, exactly a year. Yeah, exactly a year. And we never was boyfriend and girlfriend, which nobody, I mean, if you know our story, then you know that. But we never was boyfriend and girlfriend. He asked me to be his girlfriend one time. And I said no. And he was like, I'm never asking you again. Like, I'm never asking you again. So we went straight to being engaged. And then 2 months later, we got married. But when we got married, it took that year of both of us unlearning the things from our previous relationship, and also allowing for God to kill all of that, right? And because he didn't want us to respond to each other based on our experience. So we thank God for what we went through, our experiences, but we don't want to ever respond from our experiences, right? So it took that time. I believe that God, he's so intentional. He allowed for us not to, we was connected, but not to be boyfriend and girlfriend until a lot of things was buried. But once we got married, it's like I like to tell this to a lot of people, like, it's like I had stepped into being a wife. Like, I was ready for it. Like, I took on this role of being a wife. I don't even like to say role. Like, I took on the duties. Like, it's an honor to be a wife. And it's like I would just natural. If I was to say, like, I just embraced what God was doing, and that was really it. But even along, like, us, we're 3 years in now. There's still a lot of things that God is breaking. A lot of things that we are learning. Like, we thought that, dang, I thought that thing was done, because sometimes we have to be in a place, well, a lot of times we have to always be in a place where God is revealing the unknown, because we can know Santana and Josh for how many ever years we are, 33 and 35, I think. Ooh, 33 and 35. We know this person, but sometimes it's like, all right, God, what am I not seeing? Like, what are some things that I may have covered up over years that I cannot acknowledge because I don't know? So it's being in that posture of God, all right, reveal everything, the seen and the unseen, so that I can walk as a wife. I can serve the way that I'm supposed to serve, and we can continue being as one. So it took God doing that. And it's so beautiful because we're learning so much about each other each and every day. I feel like there's always something new that God is showing us, whether it is, all right, daughter, that right there, you need to get in order. Or all right, daughter, like, yes, like, come on. Like, but it's beautiful. Marriage is beautiful, and what God is doing through us, and we're learning so many, even our marriage alone is a testimony. I know you're talking about like, what's that banger testimony? Oh my God, which one? Which one you want me to pull from? There's so many. But there's a dying world out there that needs to know like what happened before Jesus and now going into Jesus. But like our marriage and everything that we've been going through and things that we're still going through, it's all a testimony. And one day it's gonna be told, just not today, but one day it will be told. But it's an honor to be married to my husband. And not just married to him, but we're in partnership, and I'm connected to a powerful, powerful man of God who loved Jesus, who is his mouthpiece. He's obedient, he is submitted, and it is, oh my goodness, like God's like, all right, before you had a counterfeit, now you got the real thing. Let me introduce you to the real thing.
Right.
So it's definitely a difference, but that goes with being obedient, being in a place where you're able to hear and see, so that you'll be able to discern a placeholder from the real thing.
Yeah, y'all definitely are partners. Anybody can do that. Like I'm like, listen, you. I haven't known you a long time. I remember the first time I met you, but even then, it was a certain glow about both of y'all together, and I know people admire that because he definitely is. I could tell he is a God sent husband.
Sure.
He is a God sent husband, and I mean, any woman will look and be like, you know what, God, can I have a copy? Can you go into DNA? Can you get a copy of that? Can you make me a copy?
Okay.
But I definitely appreciate you being here. Can you tell us some or let the people know about your devotional book? Because yes, you have a book.
Yeah.
And
on my book.
I know it's trying. Like the enemy can't stand to see us go on assignment without trying us. So I know he had to try you in some type of way when you did your devotional book.
Yes.
But you can let the world know your book. You got your book and how to find it or how to find you. Again, I said she is an author. She is a podcast host. Her and her husband have their own podcast. So elaborate on some of that. Let the world know what you got going on, girl.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So my devotional book, I said before, I was sleeping on it. So God told me to write this book in 2025, 2023, called Trusting God Too Much to Give Up. Because as I stated before, a part of this is really my story, is that I live a life of trusting God. I have a bracelet on that I wear absolutely I don't take it off, and it talks about trusting God. But I wrote this book, this devotional journal, that you get a devotional, you get a prayer, and you get a to do. So, all right, you already prayed, you did your devotion. Now, these are things that you do. These are things that you put into action, and then you have the opportunity to journal. But during the process of me writing the book, I was tried and true. Tried in my trust in God. Yeah, we'll probably talk about this another time, but me and my husband went through a miscarriage, so we'll talk about that. but definitely in a place of trusting God too much to give up, because that can be dramatic as well, traumatic. But the book that I wrote was what God told me to write. He told me, all right, daughter, I need you to take 30, you got 30 days. I'm like, 30 days, 30 days to write a devotional and get it out there. So I did. And it took some discipline. It took me being in a place where I had to shut off everything and lean into God. So because I don't know nothing about writing a book. Like, I didn't know nothing about writing no book. You could not say Santana from Hopkins wrote a book. But now you can. But before, I'm like, that's something that my sister do, something that my husband do. I don't do that. But I partner with God, and I partner with my sister, my real sister. We partnered together, and she did all of my edits. But I didn't even know, like, in me writing this book, it was freeing her. And she would write me and be like, girl, like, you don't even know what this is doing to me. Like, you don't even know how this is pulling me closer to God. Yes, I got a relationship with God. And oh my God, I admire that about my sister. She's so pure. But I didn't know what God was doing through my sister and the obedience of her saying yes to be my editor. So every day I was seeing her like, all right, sis. And they would hold me accountable. And I was standing, I'm like, all right, I'm done with day one, day two. I go, and then she would just walk with me. And it was just so beautiful. It brought us even more closer together. But I have a copy of the book here.
Okay.
Trusting God Too Much to Give Up, 30-day devotional journal. You can find this on Amazon, which I really need to get back into a place where I am promoting the book. It's like I did what God told me to do, and that's it. That's all I got.
I've been into.
Yeah,
We
but
get like that time. It's okay.
oh yeah,
Just get
I
back
gotta
on.
give myself grace. All right, God, I hear you. You got me out here promoting again, so it's time for me to get back to it. I'm gonna get which I need to. I got another book that I started writing maybe a year or so ago that it talks more about my life that I need to get back on to. Yeah. But Tay, she mentioned about the podcast that my husband and I host together, which is called "It's a God Thing." Of course, it's a God thing, right? It's a God thing where we are in the safe place and we are talking about different topics that the Lord brings about. Before we took our break, which we'll be back on, which I'm excited about, we'll be back recording again. We were talking about waiting, which God is wow. Okay, God is so on time. Like, he's so intentional. He knows exactly what he's doing when he's doing it. We were talking about waiting, not knowing, not even thinking about it. Like, we were in a place where we were waiting on the manifestation for the Lord, and we had to take a break. And now we're walking in the manifestation. So although we were waiting, now we're here. So it's just beautiful. But our podcast is a God thing. Pod is on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, all of the things, which Tara probably put it somewhere in the description or the comments so that you guys will have it. But you can find us there. You can find me on Facebook. I ain't hiding. I'm not hiding, but I'm definitely on Facebook. I don't really use Instagram too much, but I'm on Instagram as well, Santana Bridges.
Okay. So I guess we're going to wrap it up. Is there any last words that you want to give to the people? Anything motivational, inspirational that you would like to release?
Yeah. So something that I wrote down, something that I live by is only obedience. So what does that look like? Only obedience looks like saying no to self and saying yes to God. So whatever God is telling you to do, we know that God is not a God that he would tell us, give us any instructions that it will put us in danger or harm's way. Like, he is Alpha and Omega. He's beginning and the end. He's in between. So he already knows today from tomorrow. He already have written our story. So the only thing that we have to do is obey. Even when trials and tribulations come, because it's going to come. God never said that it wasn't going to come. There are going to be trials, but it's only to produce your testimony that you'll be able to tell to so many people. A lot of times we don't like to be in the test, we don't like to be in the tribulation, but God is like, if you just trust me, if you just obey, like, you don't even know what's going to come after this.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's hurting. Yeah, it does not feel good to go through. We both can, as you can see, we got same different stories, very similar, but it don't feel good. And it's not supposed to feel good, like, at all, but we just have to obey. So if I can leave you all with anything, it will just be only obedience in this season. Only yes. Like, when we say yes, God take care of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't have to worry about, as daughters and as sons, like, we don't have to worry about nothing else that comes along. God, I say yes. God, I trust you too much to give up. God, I'm trusting you even in this. And even while I'm going through this, leaning into God. What does
Mm-hmm.
that look like? That looks like being in a place where you're worshiping the Father, being in a place where you're reading the scriptures, being in a place where you're journaling. If you have to get a devotional, do that. Like, whatever it takes for you to stay in a place of only obedience, do it.
Wow. I just want to piggyback off of that just for a minute, because in obedience, it doesn't, everything is not peachy keen. It ain't going to come easy or none of that. And a lot of times it doesn't feel good because he's calling us to a different place. So therefore, there is some level of sacrifice, and there is something about us that have to drop off.
Yes.
Who we are in the last season or whatever is something from the last season that can't go to the next season.
Oh no.
So the detachment, it does not feel good. And a lot of times, if you are finding yourself warring, it's more than likely it's your flesh that's going against the grain. It's your flesh that's in the way, and it's your flesh that needs to be dropped off. You have to crucify that flesh every
Every day.
single day. Every day. The walk is not easy. I
Mm-hmm.
want people to hear that loud and clear, but it's the efforts because of your love for him. It's your love for God that's going to constantly give you the push, even though it don't feel good, even though you got this, that, and the other going on, and you like, oh my God, like
Mm-hmm.
what else? But it's the drive that, it's the love for him, the
Mm-hmm.
reverence, the fear. And the fear is just the respect that you have for him and
Yeah.
who he is. That's the thing that keep you going. It
Oh
keep
yeah.
you pushing. Because see, you can't go wrong. I always say that you cannot go wrong with that man on your team. You can't go
That's
wrong
right.
with him.
Yeah.
So this will conclude our episode. And you want to drop any social links? You already did that, right? You
Yeah.
dropped the social links already. So, all right, guys, this will be it. And I just encourage everybody to just follow God, like that voice. Don't fight it. Don't
Mm-hmm.
fight it. If you feel something sitting on you heavy, more than likely that is the Father.
Oh yeah.
Tune in, tap in, and see what he got to say. All
Absolutely.
right. Love you guys. Peace.